Hey everybody, how y'all doing? This is another broadcast of Adults Only. My name is Big Brother Jahi, and we're along with Chazz as usual, and we're going to continue to talk about a subject matter that we started last week. But before we talk about that subject matter, I want you all to know that this broadcast can be seen every Wednesday at 6 o'clock Central Standard Time. And it is on that day that we take subjects that many people don't like to discuss, and we do the best we can by talking about how to shed light and also encourage us and give application on what we need to do to become better people. If you weren't with us last week, today is part two, subject talking about a proper attitude about death. Now, we said a lot of things about death last week, and before we get started, I want Chaz to say hello to everyone, and we can get going.
Hello, everybody. I appreciate everybody that's logged on tonight. How you feeling today?
I'm feeling really well, man. I'm still trying to get my voice back, but as you can see, it's almost back. I just can't hit them high pitches like I used to, so we'll just keep waiting on that as well. But last week, we talked about the importance of getting our business straight when it comes to death. We also talked about some of the reasons that many of us don't like to talk about death, and that was very, very important. We talked about how some of our minds, Chaz, are screwed up when thinking about death because we have not been properly educated about how to think about death. And then we talked about how some of us, we just haven't straightened out our business when it comes to death and end of life decisions, and how this will have a devastating effect and impact upon our loved ones because we didn't take care of our business. Now, tonight, we're going to give nothing but encouragements. So if you're watching this, you really need to pay attention so that we can encourage you as far as to give you a different perspective on death, which is a positive one. So having said that, Brother Chaz, we start off with some of our comments. The Queen, Sister Mudiwa says, Hotep family. And also Supreme Lioness, she says, peace and blessings, kings. So we definitely want to give them both shout outs for having the ability to at least say something to us, because we like to engage in this broadcast. And so, guys, I'll let you start it off because I want to just put a comment on there, and then I'll let you talk about it, and then I'll chime in. But for those who are watching this broadcast, buckle your seatbelts, and here we go.
Fact number one, death is an important fact of life that we all should not ignore. I want to say, like I said last week, just as simple. This is something that we all have to deal with. It's something mental, I think, more than anything, because it's easy. It's easy just to, go to sleep and, think that we may not wake up. But mentally, we need to deal with it. If we have kids left behind, or just in general, because it's a hard thing to deal with. So mentally, get your mind prepared. Some say spiritually, get your faith right with whatever you believe in, and just come to terms with, you're going to leave this earth, and just do the best you can and try to become as best as you can before you leave this earth. I'll pass it to you.
And I want to say we should not ignore this discussion. We talk about everything, as we said last week, but many of us, we tuck our tails between our legs and we stick our heads in the sand, but yet this is an all-important issue in life. And a lot of us ignore talking about death, although death is a fact of life. And so this is why we need these discussions that we can have and shed light on how important it is to not ignore death, not ignore the crucials of what we have to do when it comes to end of life decisions. Because, Chaz, all of us we're going to meet that fate. We're going to meet that time in our lives where it's going to be almost over with. And how dare we ignore it, especially as old as we are, and those of us who've been around for a while, we know that death is inevitable. In other words, we know that we're going to face that, but yet a lot of us ignore it, and this is why our children are afraid. This is why us are afraid, and this is why we have the issues that we have.
Fact number two, let's open up conversations about facilitate end-of-life planning, which is very important. Like you just mentioned, brother, if we have enough cash saved up, speak about this with our loved ones or our nephews, nieces, whoever it may be. Talk about how we would want them to live once we die.
Okay, Chaz, you mean to tell me that people aren't doing that now?
No, I don't believe so, brother. I believe like we're just living our lives, partying, living our best life, doing
Uh-huh.
as much as we want, and I don't think this is even entering our brain. So, like I
Mm.
just mentioned, I would think that it's important to have these discussions so that way when we leave this earth, our loved ones are prepared and they're not, blindsided by it. It's
Have
easy.
it
It's easy to sit back and talk about it now, but when it really happens, this is something that does need to be discussed.
because, as you're saying, has it ever occurred to us that when we leave this place, don't we want people to know how we want to leave, how we want to be buried? Don't we
Mm-hmm.
want people to know how we want, if we're going to have a funeral, if we're going to
Mm-hmm.
be cremated, if we're
Mm-hmm.
not going to have any type of services? Don't we want people to know what we want at the end of our lives? This
Mm-hmm.
is preposterous because too many of us, we don't even like to sit down and talk about end of life planning. But this is an important fact, and we want
Mm-hmm.
to encourage people. It's okay, Chazz. It's okay to talk about end of life planning and what you want. What do you want when you leave this place? Why should I have to guess what you want? And why should you have to guess what I want?
Exactly. And let me just say this real quick. This is just my personal opinion about it. If you have the money, because I know there's some people who don't have the cash, but cremation to me, brother, and I'll ask you your opinion on it.
Mm.
I just think personally, if you have the money, I don't like that, brother. It's just the thought of burnings, and I know the person can't feel it. They're in a casket; they can't feel anything. But brother, it's just the thought that this person had a flesh and they're being burnt to ashes. Brother, what is your take on that
Well,
personally? If you have the money to afford to
well, well,
dismiss it.
well, I go back to each individual family has to make a decision, because that decision is what each person has to make. And like some people may want cremation, some people may not want cremation, but that's a personal decision. That's not like my decision to make. If you made that decision, I must respect that decision and make sure that your wishes are carried out. So
Mm-hmm.
each person has a right to choose how they want to leave this place. But the fact of the matter is, the loved ones that are around, they should know exactly what a person should want. Now, a beautiful empress says this: you're irresponsible if you don't prepare your family for your expiration. And she's absolutely right. She says, just like you plan in life, you should plan for death. Make
Mm-hmm.
this conversation and make it a piece that is known. And
Yeah.
I don't know how much more truer she can be, because many of us, we don't talk about it enough. We talk about everything under the sun. But again, I think we need to stop being babies about it and
Yes.
be adults and begin the process, because it's coming, Chaz. Whether you
Oh
like
yeah.
it or not, it's coming.
Oh
And
yeah.
that's the thing that we need to discuss.
And like I told you last week, and I'll go to the next topic, brother. Death has no exceptions. It doesn't matter if you're young. It doesn't
Whoa.
matter if you're old. It doesn't
Uh-huh.
matter if you're famous. It doesn't matter if you're poor. It doesn't
Mhm.
matter what type of person you are. It's going to hit you. So you have to always think about conscious decisions like this, because it's going to happen and
Well, why,
nobody
why
can
does
run
I,
from it.
I got to cut you off and ask you this, Chaz? And I don't want to be disrespectful and rude, but this just came to my mind. I have to ask you this: why does it appear that the African American, why does it appear that the black man, a black woman, why does it appear that the Nuwapian, why does it appear that the Christian, why does it appear that the Muslim, why does it appear that the spiritual gurus, why does it appear that we have answers about everything in this life? But when it comes to death, Chaz, it appears that many of us, not all of us, many of us are so silent. And this
Yes.
is what the problem is. So why do you think we do that, where we talk about entertainers, we talk about celebrities, we talk about sports, we talk about music, we talk about everything except for this? What do you have to say about that one?
And this is no shot, brother, but we're afraid. We're not going to talk about it because this is something that's scary. And just think about it. When a funeral happens and everybody that's family that's at that cemetery crying, this is a scary sight. We've seen a loved one that we've known for 40, 50, 60 years, and here we go. We don't see them anymore. All those memories, all those relationships that we built up. It's a scary thought. Now, we know this is going to happen,
Uh-huh.
but it's just a scary thought, brother, that we don't want to talk about, because if we, and I told you this last week, if we had the opportunity and we can choose, brother, I believe 90% of us would want to live earth for immortality. We would want to live forever.
And that's only because many of us are scared. There's an empress that's firing away tonight. She says, I'm getting cremated. She says, burn me up. Keep all of my rings and things and all that money to further their life existence. This is what we're talking about, looking out for those who come behind us. She says policies, policies, policies. So everyone knows where everything is. It sounds like this beautiful queen, it sounds like she has her life together and she's trying to warn us that we
Yes.
as a people, we should definitely get ourselves together. Another empress says this. I was getting here. She says, a hotel family, because this is a discussion that we have to discuss. Another empress says some of our people would do everything while living, but won't get insurance to bury them. Once they pass, their families are setting up a GoFundMe just to bury them. Can you believe this?
Brother, let me just say something real quick about that statement. First of all, I appreciate the comment and we love the comment. Here's and this is not no shot at her, brother. This is the shot at America in the system. Brother, I believe 90% of us don't have insurance, not because we want to neglect. Now, there are some that neglect it, but brother, you know where I'm going with this.
Okay.
It's too expensive. I mean,
what?
Rent, food, clothes, all this stuff, brother, and then you add this on top of car insurance.
Okay, but Chazz, I gotta jump in here on this one because what is more important though? That's what I'm asking. What's more important? We know we have to have a place to stay, but we know we're going to leave this earth. So why would we neglect the most important things? We rather get a car, a home, or apartment, and clothes, but yet we know those things are going to flee. But yet our lives, our relatives, our children, they should be in a position where at least we should have enough insurance to bury us. And this is the problem that many of us face today because, like you mentioned, we rather drive fancy cars. We rather have fancy clothes, but yet we don't think enough of ourselves to buy a decent burial policy. Something is wrong with our mental, and this is why these comments are firing in like this. We've been conditioned. We are here not to care for about our loved ones, losing our loved ones. I mean, the comments are coming. We're all expiring here to this life one day. I mean, they just won't stop. If you get it early in life, it's not that expensive. So they're not letting us off the hook, Chazz. They're not letting us off the hook. And this is the kind of discussion we should have. Take it away.
Yeah, brother. I wasn't taking up or trying to take up for people. I was just saying that, yes, if you get the insurance early, it is cheap. I'm just saying with the way rent is, the way our expenses are, a lot of people don't want to pay for that type of business, brother, because they feel like it's too expensive. Me personally, you should invest in this. And like the other sister said, I believe Sister Rutledge, day by day, brother, every day we wake up, we're getting close to expiring. So we must have these discussions.
What about this one then, Chazz? What does this say?
Making decisions about death can reduce family conflicts. I'll let you take that away because I've just been running my fat mouth.
But you know what? This is important because we have so many issues when a person leaves this earth. I'm fighting against you, you fighting against me, sisters are fighting against sisters, brothers are fighting against brothers, sisters are fighting against brothers, cousins are fighting against cousins. Everybody is bickering, everybody's confused, everybody's throwing blows, everybody's talking about one another, only because we did not have the end of life decision made that would quell and that would stop that. People are fighting at the funeral home. People are fighting at grave sites. People are arguing and cursing each other out at the wake. People are cussing each other out in the parking lot. This shows an insanity that's beyond repair. But yet, Chazz, we need to bring light on this because, as we say, making decisions about death, it can reduce all of those family squabbles and conflicts.
Yes, because you're not blindsided. And then also, brother, a lot of us who do have the extra cash, I think a lot of these conflicts are happening because one family member feels like they got cheated out of more money. And the other family member feels like this person shouldn't get that. At the end of the day, this is just my personal opinion. Even if that person, like I told you last week, brother, if they have a cigarette addiction, alcohol addiction, or whatever, they're going to buy whatever they're going to buy with it. Who are we to tell that person, you better spend this money on this, you better spend it on that? Give that person their money and quit trying to dominate people's lives, no matter what they do with that cash.
And that is a conflict because everybody wants to tell everybody what to do. And that's why we have these types of discussions. What about this one?
Discussing death is an open and informative way we can help people better understand the natural process of life, which is dying.
Well, Chaz, let me ask you this. Isn't life about not just living, but isn't life about dying as far as the natural process? We're going to leave this earth physically. Now, we don't want to get all caught up into the spirituality because many of us are so brainwashed. We're going to argue with us and say, well, after the afterlife, we're not talking about the afterlife. We're talking about the physical life. And because we know that the physical life is fleeing and going to leave us, shouldn't we be able to talk like you and I are talking now in an open, in an informative way, and not in this spooky way, not in this terrifying way, not in this scary way that many of us fear death?
Yes, we should. And like we talked about last week, for the video you showed, our body, the European lady talked about how our bodies at a certain age, it starts to shut down. The body is saying, I'm getting ready to transition. And this is something that all of our bodies are probably going to go through. So we have to talk about these things and just iron it out. And it's a tough pill to swallow. But at the end of the day, these things must be talked about.
And we're encouraging you to say that it shouldn't be a tough pill to swallow. Although it is a tough pill to swallow, as Chaz just commented, it shouldn't be a tough pill to swallow because if you look on this screen now, and Empress says this, I have 4 insurance policies, and she says I probably pay at least $60 a month. So
that's good.
That's little or nothing. But yet we want to wear expensive jewelry. We want to wear expensive clothes. We want to wear designer clothes, designer glasses, and designer jeans and all of these things. And yet we will not spend money to have a policy to make sure at least some of our people, when we leave this place, are in a better position. Another queen says, I have 3 policies. She says, I want 5. She says, I budget it in she says, I smile paying life insurance every month because I think about my absence and the benefits. She says, with my power, she can leave with her loved ones. And she tell them smiling, knowing that she loves them without. And she also says, and her last gift would be her best gift. Here's a sister that's so open to discussing this. And this is why a lot of us have issues, because we don't like to have the serious discussions. We like to live in the future where we're thinking about the afterlife. See, we don't want to come down to reality. And here people are telling us these are necessities if you are around now to at least invest in a policy because that's important.
Yes, and I just want to address the other comment that's on the screen real quick. Brother Raymond says, hey, you all, we say to you, Brother Raymond, thank you for coming back. And as the other sister just said, Sister Rutledge, she's spot on. Every month, she's trying to build it up to 5. So this goes to show you that this sister is consciously thinking about her death and how to better prepare for that. So, like I said, that sister has her head on tight.
This is a beautiful discussion. So quit shaking in your boots, people. Quit running and hiding under the bed. This isn't an adult conversation. This is a conversation that must be had. This is a conversation that we should not duck anymore. What does this say, Chazz?
Conversations about death will lead to self-reflection about your own mortality.
Because, Chazz, when I think about it, that lets me know that I'm going to leave this place sooner or later. I know that I'm going to leave this place. So when I talk about it, it continuously prepares me because I know in my heart that I may want to be here forever, but I'm not in the actual flesh. So because I know I'm going to leave this place, when I talk about it, even talking about it with you, it gives me an opportunity to reflect upon myself and to let me know that I'm mortal in the flesh. And this is why we should continue to talk about it. As you said last week, many of us are afraid to talk about it. But when we do talk about it, it should lead to a self-reflection in our own mortality.
Yes, brother. On this specific point right here, you said a nutshell. You said a handful. I don't have anything to say about that one in particular.
A brother says it won't be a GoFundMe funeral for me or something, But the point of the matter is everybody falls on certain times in their lives, and we're not knocking people that don't have and they just need help because everybody needs help. But when you look at it, many of us, we squander what we have, and we don't listen. If you have children and your children are not in an insurance policy, shame on you. Shame on us. Yes, someone has to say it, because I'm tired of beating around the bush. I need to go right in on all of us. If you have children and they don't have insurance policies and they're young, that's a disgrace. That's the worst thing that can happen, because as a parent, you should not only provide food and shelter, but you should provide some type of policy so that if something should happen to those babies, those little ones, Chazz, we will be able to make sure that they're, as we say, put away the way they should. Because most of us spend money on dope, we spend money on drink, we spend money on clothes, and I can go on and on and on. But when will we have the serious discussion where adults, I'm talking about big boys, big girls, where we can talk about this? Here's a comment a beautiful queen says, I've had my daughter in life insurance since she was a baby. I used to pay it for her, but now I make her responsible for paying it, and it's called adulting. Now, that's another subject matter, because she's right. Now that her daughter is older, she's allowing her to be responsible, which a lot of us don't like to be. Here's something, I think I skipped a comment. We teach our children how to live. We must teach them how to live without us. That's profound right there. That is very profound.
Yes, and we talked about that comment in particular last week, brother, about when our loved ones leave, that person is in a worse state. And I'm not making fun of these type of people, but they get into that concept of taking their own lives or want to jump off a bridge. Now, we have to understand we're going to leave this earth. Let's not let that make us sad or make us depressed. That should motivate us to say, you know what? I'm going to be the best I can be. Show this loved one of mine that we can get along before death. And yes, after that person is transitioned, it is depressing. But a lot of us, brother, we take it to the extreme. I'm not going to harm myself, but it will be a tough mental battle with thinking about all those memories, thinking about all the things we've done. But I'm not going to commit suicide over a death. But the sister is spot on that last comment.
Because we're human. And see, we have some people who think they're not human. But when people leave this earth, there is a void. We still grieve people until we leave this earth ourselves. We're not even talking about that. We're talking about preparing so that when that day comes, we will be able to make sure that when we leave this place, our loved ones will at least be able to bury us, and they would know what we wanted them to do for us. A brother says, unfortunately, sometimes parents can't afford to provide for their children and have life insurance on them too. Okay, we get that as well. We get that as well. But then we're also saying that parents should make sure that before they spend money on fancy items, other items, that should be a part of their budgeting, Chazz.
Right.
That should be a part of their budgeting. Now, we know everyone falls on hard times, but a lot of times we give people excuses. We give them cop-outs. And a lot of this is because we just don't want to be man and woman enough to tell the truth. And the truth is, many of us, we neglect our responsibilities. And that's why a lot of people don't want to hear this discussion or have this discussion. Destruction creeps in where there is no knowledge of a responsible death. And this is so true. This is so true. So, Chazz, and I wanted to ask you, why do you think that our children are afraid to have discussions about death?
Some of it is going to be because I want to touch on it real quick for like a second. I think of the spiritual aspect. I think some of our kids believe that they're going to be tormented for all eternity after life. So I think that's some part of why they're afraid to talk about it. And then plus, brother, I think because of this society, a lot of our kids have this YOLO, you only live once kind of mindset. And they're afraid that they're not going to be able to accomplish all of their goals. So when you tell them that puts them in a negative mind frame and they can't accomplish the goals. So they get depressed, they get angry, they get frustrated. So that's why they don't want to talk about this, because they like, okay, I'm 24 years old. I didn't get a chance to accomplish all I did. I'm a failure. I'm a loser. I'm sorry. I'm a piece of garbage. These are the kind of things that they think about because they couldn't hit all their accomplishments in this lifetime.
And this is sad as well. Why would you tell a child about something that you don't know about? Why would you tell and convince a child that when they leave this earth, that negative things are going to happen to them instead of preparing them to live because they know that there's going to be something that happens afterwards. Why do we scare these kids? Why do we bring them up in that type of mindset? Why do we place boogeymen under their beds at night where they don't want to go to sleep? Or if they get sick, they're afraid to close their eyes because they're afraid to leave this place. That is torture, Chazz. That is mental torture. And we, as a society, we ought to be ashamed of ourselves because we don't have the proper attitude about death. I'm tired of these men, us. I'm tired of these women, some of our sisters. I'm tired of us acting like little bitty babies when we don't look at the reality of death and prepare for this thing called death, because we know we can, but yet we avoid the issue, and yet we scare these children, and yet we don't want to have these discussions. And this is why this comment that's on the actual screen now, this is very important about what we should do, which says what?
Putting in writing end-of-life wishes can help individuals and families honor their religious or spiritual preferences.
Okay.
Like I said, brother, we have to keep hitting home the spiritual aspect. How can a person live on earth 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 years and not be somewhat spiritual or have some kind of concept about the afterlife? Now, I'm not going to put out there what and who they should worship and who they shouldn't, but brother, you have to know there's something greater than all of us.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We were not created out of, we just woke up one day. There's something or someone who created us. We're going to have to account for what we've done, and these spiritual practices must be talked about, because if we don't, when we close our eyes, something bad, and I told you last week, brother, something bad is going to happen if we live life thinking that there's no bigger deity than us.
Well, Chazz, and I want to add to that, because here's my situation with the whole ideal that we're dealing with. I really believe that many of us, we say we believe in some type of spiritual principles or a religious ideology, but yet we sing songs about this thing called death. We say we want to see the maker. We say we want to see whomever is behind us when we're gone. But yet we don't really want to see this maker, Chazz. So I'm saying that people who are into any kind of religious ideology, I'm encouraging you to believe what you say. Practice what you preach so that you will not have the fear. You're a hypocrite. You are a hypocrite if you say you believe in principles, but yet in your heart, you don't really want those principles to come to pass. Because we should be honoring the ideal that one day when we do leave this place, there's something greater for us. But because most of us we don't believe it. So I'm encouraging you, if you're a Christian, practice the principles that the Bible teaches. If you're a Muslim, practice the principles that the Quran teaches. If you're a spiritual guru, practice the principles that the book of Coming Forth by Day preach and teaches about the afterlife. And if we do those things, Chazz, we will not be afraid. And someone wants to give a shout out to you, then I'll go back to a comment that I missed. She says, Chazz, laugh. Your laugh is hilarious. I guess she's talking about how you sound like a frog or something when you laugh. There it is again. So that's hilarious.
I appreciate the comments, Sister Rutledge. Thank you.
Here we go. What is this all about, Chazz? What is this about?
There's a comment on the screen. It says, there are two babies. Let's see. There are two babies in my daughter's family whose parents have fallen in this very situation. So my daughter and I have decided to purchase Gerber life insurance policies for them. And to that specific comment, I want to say this sister is smart and strong, because a lot of us, brother, in this society, we're selfish. To acknowledge that someone is struggling in an area, and to even have the extra cash to donate to that family member, that is awesome. So that is good. But brother, how many of our family members have the cash, see one of our loved ones is lacking,
and still won't,
and say, you know what, screw them. It ain't me. That ain't my problem. Screw them. I hate that kind of mindset.
Well, that's why when we talk about unity, we're going to have to be honest about, many of us talk that unity talk, but we're not about living the unity life, you see. And that is a stupendous meaning what this young lady has done. That's stupendous, meaning it's monumental. It's a great thing that is going on. And this is how it should be. Another sister says, yep, they're testifying. I mean, we're having services tonight on this thing. We're in the mosque. We're having things talked about that a lot of people don't want to be honest. I love the comments that we get because we're dealing with people who have come face to face with their mortality. They know that the time is not going to be that much more longer, so they're preparing to die. But a lot of us are shucking and we're jiving. We don't want to comment because we're scared to die and we haven't gotten our business in order. And this is why we need to continue to have these kinds of serious discussions. This same sister says, let your dying be for your greatest testament as to how you lived. I mean, you can't beat that. You can't.
Yes. And she's spot on, especially when we die, when we go to the funeral services. We want good things to be said about us. We want to be brought and remembered as a kind person that was loving and did the best that we could, because we don't want to leave this earth. And as soon as we leave the funeral services in the car, we're talking to our loved ones. Oh, he ain't no good. He beat them out of money. No, you shouldn't do that. We should live to the best of our ability, so that way people have nothing but good things to say about us when we pass.
And they better be glad they have what is called a eulogy. In other words, in every religion or spiritual ideology, when it comes to the afterlife or leaving, they have a eulogy, meaning you're supposed to speak well of that person. But I saw a movie one day, and this preacher came up to the casket, and he didn't stay that long on the funeral, and I cried laughing because it was funny. But he said, all of y'all know this person that died. They live like a dog. They die like a dog. Get this casket out of here. So I mean, but it's a good thing that we're not able to tell the truth. So we're encouraging people to lighten up.
Yes.
Don't look at it with fear and trepidation. A brother says, I encourage my young adult children to get whole life insurance while they are still young, and it costs less for younger people. And this is true. All these are just encouragements. This is why I like this broadcast, because we're so practical, man. Most of these broadcasts, and I'm not knocking them, I'm just saying they want to tell you how many stars are in the sky. They want to take you to the solar system and give you metaphysics and give you science and make people think they're smart. This, my friend, is what all of us should be having a discussion about, because this is what we should do right here.
Putting in writing end of life wishes, which can help individuals and family honor their, I believe we talked about this.
Yeah, but the putting in writing part. In other words, we have to put this in writing, Chazz. I mean, you can tell me all you want to, but if it's not in writing, half the time your family is going to intercept what you really want. They're going to do what they want to do. And so this is the problem right here. This is very problematic.
Yes,
See,
and
go ahead.
Yeah, and make sure when you put it in writing, put it somewhere that you can remember, because a lot of us have bad memory. So even tell a loved one, hey, my file is in this drawer, my file is in this
notarized.
Yeah, let them know, because if our memories are bad and we pass away, they're looking for these folders. They may not find it because you just stashed it in a secret spot.
Yeah, acknowledging death can help people focus on living life to the fullest. And I think that's so true. When the sister Rutledge is just firing away at us tonight in a positive way, and her whole ideal and her mantra tonight is basically, you have to live a life. And if you live it to its fullest, when it's time to leave this earth, you're not going to be so afraid, so petrified, so terrified, shaking in your boots. And I think that's an indictment on many of us, because a lot of us, Chazz, we don't know how to leave this earth.
Yes, we don't. And like I said, brother, we're afraid. This isn't nothing to be depressed, sad, or angry about. It's going to happen. Look at it as something where you've expired, you've accomplished most of your goals that you could, and the things you don't accomplish, that's okay. I mean, there's no life sentence that you have to serve because you didn't accomplish that. As long as you are a good person, did most of the things that you wanted to do and have fun, talk people, that is something that we need to strive for.
We are talking about a proper attitude about death. This is part 2. For those who missed part 1, you should go back and watch our video from last week. But watch this, Chazz. Here's a brother that's telling us what he wants and what he doesn't want. And look how simple this is. He says this: I don't want a funeral. He says he hates them. He told
Mm.
he told his children to leave him, to have him cremated and throw a party instead. Now that's his wishes. So
Yes.
why can't he get what he wants? Why does he have to get what I want or what you want because he didn't put this in writing? See, he's telling us now he does not want a funeral. So why should we try to give him a funeral because that's something that we want? You see how
Right.
messed up we are? This is why it's important to basically tell him what you want. Tell him
Yes.
exactly what you want.
We
Yep.
have to. Go ahead.
Yep. The sister says, I figured when I expire here, the words and memories will then become the life of me, and all will know that I am an ancestor. Wow, this is they're just coming away. You know, we're getting so big now, Chaz, we're not going to be able to read all the comments. We used to could read all the comments, but we're getting big now. So we have to kind of go in spots. But he says, I told my daughter that all my insurance policies are under his bed mattress. See, these people just get, these are basic encouragements. She says, I have told my loved ones too. Why should they not know? Why should they know what you want, Chaz?
And it's no secret. And like you said, it's refreshing to see a lot of these people in the comment section are having these discussions, talking about this. And it's no secret. Now, to the next point, it says, being honest about death encourages people to prioritize their values and relationships.
You know, Chaz, you know, why have we not told somebody, you know, I love you and I cherish our relationship? You know, we take people for granted. We talked a little bit about that last week. We take people for granted. It's like we're talking now, and tonight I may expire. And so tomorrow, when they tell you that Big Brother Jahi is gone, you may say, well, there were some things I really wanted to say to him. Well, why do you have to wait until somebody is on their deathbed to say things to them? Why can't we just say it, you know, while we're alive now? Cherish relationships, sisters and brothers. Quit. Somebody said it best last week. Quit all this bickering. Quit all this fighting. Quit all this nonsense, because it doesn't matter anymore, Chaz.
Well, brother, the reason why we're not talking, because I believe personally we've hardened our hearts to certain individuals. Somebody in the past did something at a family function, said something to me over the phone, and that way you're holding a grudge against that person. And like you said, if they close their eyes tonight, we're going to be the same people slinging snot at a funeral. My thing is this: if you love a person, and quit listening to what the media says, because the media now, if you haven't noticed, they're teaching you to be hard, not love one another,
cry,
screw over people as much as you can, or don't cry. So like you said, we have to show affection and show, and listen, us men too, because I was taught by the media that if you show love and affection, or if you cry, you soft. You soft. No, you're not. Show affection to these relationships. Show your loved ones that you care, because this is something that needs to be discussed.
Exactly. We need to be honest, Chaz. And that's why I like this broadcast. I can't stress it enough. We're honest. You know, we put ourselves in a situation because we're like that. You know, we're still working. We're a work in progress. You know, most people want you to think that they know everything, they have everything together. And we're saying, no, we don't. We're all a work in progress. But this is going to make you cry when you see this. This is going to make you cry, because this person just going to come out and tell you exactly what is on their mind. They say this: I love you all. That's touching.
We love you too, sister. We appreciate you for coming on.
That is so rewarding. Oftentimes you get the other one: I hate you. But she says, I love you. I mean, this is what it's all about, man. This makes life so much easier to live when people can express, because a lot of people, like you say, we want to be hard. We can't say what's our true feelings. You know, we have to suppress them and subdue them. And this is why a lot of us are dealing with a lot of issues. Sadly, Americans, and no matter the race, he says, the worst behavior of the family comes out when someone dies. If that ain't true,
he's spot on. We see a lot on YouTube, Twitter, Snapchat. Like you said, at the funeral, loved ones fighting, pulling out guns, starting to pistol whip people at a funeral. All of our family members are coming in, breaking it up, saying, you know, cut that out. It's a sad scene to see some of us that we die, how our loved ones react.
We've lost our minds. We really have. This beautiful queen says, my only cutoff is out of a right disrespect. And she says, and after I've communicated beyond that, she says she loves. We're talking about a proper attitude concerning death. And many of us don't like to have these discussions because we are so we're so behind in time. We can't look a person in their eyes and tell them that we're going to be leaving this place. Our children should be prepared that for us to leave this place, because they know that we need to have a proper mindset. And here's something I'm going to start off, and I'll let Chazz finish. It says a proper mindset toward death is one of, here it is, acceptance. Got to accept it, Chazz. You can't do anything about it.
You can fight it. You could try to ignore it. You could try to forget about it, brother. It's going to hit you one way or another. So accept it. Once you accept it, you move forward, and that way we try to get ourselves and our loved ones prepared as much as we can. And let me just say this too.
Sure.
I think this is unique. There's a few family members who sometimes they pre-record a video. They know they're dying. They know that they're leaving soon, and they pre-record a video, and then they dedicate it to their son or their daughter, and they say, you know what, sister, brother Charlie, this is your father. If you just now seeing this video, I've always had love for you, or things like that. That's and there are a few people that do that, but I think those are touching videos. And when their kids find those videos, they're crying and laughter, saying, "Wow, my parents thought that much of me to create this secret video and show this to me at a later date." I think those are awesome videos.
They really are. And you know what this acceptance boils down to, Chazz? It basically boils down, when we say that one should accept the fact that we're going to leave this place physically, we're saying that a person has a deep-seated embracing of the fact that someone's going to depart. That's when you're strong, when you can embrace that. Don't fight it, because you can't do anything about it. And so we're encouraging all you tonight. We're encouraging ourselves. This is a wonderful broadcast when it comes to encouraging all of us as to what to do, because many broadcasts, they tell you what not to do. They critique you. They criticize me. They tell us all the negative things. But here we are telling you that this is something that we should be acceptance of, because this shows that deep down in our souls, we have accepted the fact that that person lived the life that they had, and they moved on. And even though it's painful, even though it hurts, as human beings, we have accepted it. Why? Because you can't do anything about it. And that's right. Wonderful, Chazz. Now, somebody else says something else. Let's see here. They say, OMG, Mr. Coleman, I don't like funerals, LOL. She says, I don't like drama, because she knows at funerals many times there's going to be drama at a funeral and at a wedding. And then she says, make time precious. Chazz, can you speak to that? She says, make time precious while we're alive.
Yes.
Why is that important?
Because we all know once you lose time, you can't get it back. And make the time that we have important, meaning even if it's getting into a car, taking our loved ones, or if it's a longtime cousin we haven't seen in a while, meeting up, going to get something to eat, going out to a movie, going out to go to a bowling alley. Something basic and simple to say, you know what, brother, cousin, I haven't seen you in 10 years. How's your life? Let's go out and have a good time. And no, not getting sloppy drunk, not getting, told to where you got your video where you can't get out of the car because you're so messed up. But if you do that, I'm not knocking you. I'm just saying, let's do this in a sober way and go out and have a good time and show that your cousin or uncle or grandmother that you love them. They would love to see you and, communicate.
These 3 words are the most profound words that you can ever read. Make time precious. You see, people don't want to do that now. They want to get off this broadcast. They want to go watch sports. They want to go watch entertainment. They want to go watch foolishness, and to each his own. You do what you want to do. But Chazz, this is one of the most serious discussions that we've ever had, because we're talking about how we should be making time precious. That means we are thought provoking. That means that we are looking at the soul of a person and we're saying, I cherish you. I really love you. I'm so glad that I was able to spend the time with you. But unfortunately, we have so many irons in the fire. We can't take time out. Now, here's a book that a sister wrote. And I want to read this book because I don't want it to be said that some people commented and we read theirs and others commented and we did. But here's a book. And here's a book that we want to say. I'm joking, so don't take it seriously. Here's a book that is read. This is a great book. It says this. I was attending a funeral when a fight broke out amongst family members. The deeds to the home of the deceased is what they were fighting about. But one of the family members had placed the deeds in the casket of the deceased before her body was lowered to the ground, shaking her head. You see what I'm saying? This is most ridiculous. But this is what has to happen sometimes. A brother says, younger, you are the more awkward. It is dealing with preparing for the transformation that we are calling death. Yes, you call it what you want to call it. And I know Brother Raymond isn't saying this, but everybody has a term for it, depending on what culture you come from or what country you're in or what place you're in. What we're saying is physically, you're going to leave this earth. Yes. And we should make sure that everything is done by the time we leave this earth so that everything will go as smooth as possible. What is another proper mindset that we should have, Chazz?
As it says on the screen, number 2, which is gratitude. Go ahead.
Be thankful and show your appreciation for someone. That's all that's saying. Okay. Show your appreciation. Don't wait till that person is almost gone.
Right.
Do it when they're younger and just tell them, why are you taking me out to dinner? Why are we over here talking like this? Why have you purchased me flowers? Why have you purchased me something that I like? And then the response is because I'm grateful.
Yes.
I'm grateful to you. But see, these are the kinds of applications that a lot of Negroes don't like. So-called Negro, they rather go to a building and sing songs, and they rather go to the spiritual houses and talk about ideas that are principles, or Muslims will rather talk about charats, of these verses that make them feel good. But when are we going to start showing gratitude by just saying, hey, I really, really care for you, and I'm just showing my gratitude. Transformers. Here's a part 2 to the book. The Queen says, I will be holding a FaceTime meeting amongst my children, since they're in separate states, to write out my will and inform them where my end of life papers are. That's wonderful, Chazz. Yes. That's wonderful. That's wonderful.
It definitely is. And you have to have these discussions because, like I mentioned earlier, you don't want to get in a situation to where you pass and the sister and brother or cousin and uncles are fighting over how much money. And forget the money. It shouldn't be about coins. But it's a shame that this is what this is boiled down to. So for her to acknowledge that she knows that she's going to leave this earth and she wants to hash these things out that way when she passes, there's no conflict or bickering. It's an awesome concept. I appreciate it. Number 3, conform in one's spiritual or religious affirmations.
Yeah, we comfort them. Yeah, we should comfort them, Chazz. If I know you a Buddhist and you're going to leave this earth, then the thing that I should say to you is, brother, you believe in Buddha. So why don't you hold on to those principles, you see? In other words, I want to comfort you to say all those things that you read, I want you to believe them. Right. I don't want you to be afraid. See, because we are afraid of these things, but yet we talk about them. We sing about it. We should comfort them, man, in this religious affirmations.
Bro, let me just ask you this real quick, and I'm going to come back to this. What would you say to the person who's been so frustrated because they've been lied to from spiritual practices, they've been deceived by false prophets? What would you say to those people who says, you know what? I don't believe there's a God. I don't believe in none of this spiritual nonsense. I don't think that there's nothing to life. I think when I die, I just die. What do you say to those who don't have any particular belief?
I would say to the atheists, let me cough real quick. Okay. But I would say to the atheist, that's your prerogative. That's your right. I'm not here to tell you where you're going when you leave because I don't know myself. See, I'm being transparent. Even though I am a spiritualist, I believe in spirituality. I can't tell you what's going to happen to you. I just know what I've been taught. But what I'm saying to you is, did you live your best life? Did you treat people fairly? Did you do the things that you should have done? Did you make amends with the world in which you live in? And if you've done that, then you've done all you can do. This is as practical and simple as it gets. Don't send me no man with no clergy collar in my room trying to, tell me what's going to happen. I don't want him. In fact, if I have enough strength, I'll probably kick him in as you know what. Don't send nobody in here with no big old Bible telling me the last rites. I don't want that. I don't want no one to come to me and throw sprinkle water all over me and say, get him out of here. What I want is a person who says to me, the time is near when
Yes.
you live the life that you lived.
Mm-hmm.
Just rest in peace.
Yes.
I don't want to hear all that stuff about where I'm going because you don't know where I'm going. I don't know where I'm going. No one knows. So get this man out of my room with all this fancy jewelry and stuff on telling me what's going to happen. I don't want to hear that, Chazz. And I
Yeah.
really mean that. And this is
Yeah.
what they do. They send these jokers, these clowns inside of a room to make people feel good when that person is afraid because that
Yes.
person knows that they really have not lived the life that they should be living. So
Yeah.
therefore, they are struggling. So since they're struggling, why would you compound that and say if you haven't given your life to someone or something that you're going to burn? This is nonsense, Chazz.
Yeah, in fact, it's going to probably scare them. They're already in a bad state, and you add that on top of it, it's going to scare the mess out of them even more.
Yeah.
Brother Raymond just commented again. It says, I don't fear death, but I'm enjoying life right now. One day, I'm sure I will look forward to transforming.
Whoa, that's heavy, Ray. That's real heavy. You see, this is a wonderful broadcast because people are now owning up and fessing up to the fact that I'm preparing my mind, I'm preparing my soul, I'm preparing my inner workings to face the challenge that is inevitable, which is that I'm going to leave this place. And this is why people run from these kinds of broadcasts, Chaz, because we rather talk about sports athletes. We rather talk about entertainers. We rather talk about movie stars. We rather talk about game show hosts. We rather talk about people in our family. But yet here are people fessing up, owning up to the fact that this day is coming and this broadcast is a broadcast that's preparing them. I think we're going to have to do a part 3, Chaz, because the comments are coming so fast and we can't stop them. We can't stop the comments. And we still have so much more to talk about. Here's something else, Chaz. A beautiful queen says, she says, I exemplify love so consistently to my children that they have me in meditation. She says, gratefulness. She says, I'd be in awe at the care and their concern themselves on her behalf. Isn't this wonderful, Chaz? This is beautiful. I can't hardly hear you.
Can you hear me now?
No, I can't.
Okay, yeah, she's instilling it to her children at a young age. It's a wonderful concept. And those kids, hopefully when they get older, if they have kids, they pass it to their children too. It's just like a generation thing where you keep passing it down to family member to family member if her kids choose to have children as well when they get older.
Look how deep Brother Ray's getting tonight. Look what this is deep. This is what he says. He says, me personally, he said he would debate the afterlife. And here's why. He haven't experienced it to have any knowledge of it. That is powerful, Ray, because most people don't think that way. We've been taught all of our lives that when we leave this earth, something is going to happen. And this is how screwed up we are. And so we have fallen for it. And we believe something that is not true because we don't. And instead of saying, I don't know if this is true, but this is what I've been taught, we're going to tell you without a shadow of a doubt, I know this is what's going to happen. How foolish is that? But Ray, that is so profound. No one can tell me about death who hasn't died yet. Although there's some smiling faces and laughter, it's true.
Yeah.
Mr. Coleman, people just coming in with the comments. Oh, yeah. She says, I'm also a great grandma. But also, Chaz, we also need to comfort people. But what about this one?
Celebration. Yes. When they pass away, when we go to the funeral, don't be weeping all 45 minutes. Don't be angry. Laugh, smile, pull up some videos on your phone where you and that family member were in the back room at a function, cracking up, having a good time. Remember all the fun that we had. It's not always negative and depression and anger. Remember all those good times that we had and show to others like, hey, this is one of my relatives. We had a ball when he was on this earth. So and I think, brother, we need to talk about this more. And let's not be delusional here. Yes, it's a sad thing, but we should celebrate that there was some person who thought enough of us to create us. This person has lived for however long that they did, and now let's celebrate that loved one for all they've accomplished and all the things and for what they've meant to us as well.
Because when we celebrate, that's a consolation, Chaz. It's also reassuring. When we celebrate our loved ones departing, it's an encouragement. It's a soothing. It's a physical type of soothing. It's also a comfort, Chaz. It's marking an important event in our lives or an occasion by engaging some enjoyable activities. Everything ain't about going to get a 40 ounce and pouring it all over our head. Everything ain't all about smoking as many blunts as we can smoke. Everything ain't always about running around shooting guns out in the sky after someone leaves. Celebration forms, and that's what we need to do a broadcast on, because we don't know how to celebrate, because we've been taught that celebration is always about food or always about some kind of drink. It's always about somebody getting stoned or somebody getting plastered. And this is why we can't celebrate. Celebration take forms in many, many cases, and we just don't realize that. And so that's why I think we definitely need to do that. I mean, again, the comments are coming, man. They're coming, and some of these I might have already shown. But somebody says, I've preached the same way to my son Ray. I know I'm going to leave here, but to where I'm going, I don't know. Well, it's about time we start fessing up. It's about time we started owning up. He says, that's what I'm with in celebrating my life. He says, don't mourn my death. And here's another queen says, same thing to my son. Here are some conscious people. Here are some intelligent people who are honest. But see, most of us, we don't want to be honest, Chaz, because we really been fed a bill of goods, and in our hearts, we really don't know how to celebrate. Here's another one. She says, oh yeah, Mr. Clark, I think I might have already shown these, but it's just a matter of some of us, we just don't know how to celebrate other than going and getting drunk. And that's terrible.
Like I said, I'll also say too, a celebration, this is just my concept. This is no right or wrong. When that loved one has passed away, all of us, I'm talking about the family members who attended the funeral, meet up, go to a specific location, go to a big house or a bowling alley or somewhere, and have fun, have t-shirts of that loved one that's passed away, or just go to someone's house and watch on YouTube, because we have our phones here. We could mirror all the videos that we did with that person, show it, and eat popcorn, act like it's a movie. I mean, these are my little concepts. They don't mean much, but these are just little concepts we can use to show honor and celebration to that loved one that's passed away.
Here's a point to that. A queen says, I celebrate my transformation while I've not yet expired, being a great granny. I see so many variations of myself. Preparing them is my benefit too. Boy, these people tonight, you talking about some intelligent comments. These comments are just really, he says, death is a part of life. You must embrace death in order to enjoy life fully. I mean, what more can we say? They need to do this broadcast, Brother Ray and them. They need to do this broadcast, because that's true. Now, our time has gone, and I want to say it really has. Next week, I was supposed to be wearing this ring that Job Bless made. It's a ring of an Ankh, and it's a ring of the African continent. I messed around and set it down. I don't want to get up and get it now, but I'll show you this ring that she's making. She also made one for all the students. But I want to take one more point, Chaz. I want to take one more point, and then after I take this point, I want you to comment on it, and then we can get out of here. But I want you to realize that this is the proper mindset on death, not just acceptance, not just gratitude, not just comfort, not just celebration. But we're going to continue next week, but we're going to end on this one, Chaz. What about this one?
Like I just mentioned, brother, number 5 says memories. All in our phones, the videos we've recorded with that loved one, some of the conversations that we had, some of our first interactions. When I didn't know that this is my family member, but when I first met them, they had me in a trance where I felt a certain way about it, because they showed me love. They showed me comfort. They showed me that they cared. All these are good memories to internalize and just keep into the brain, to know these people care for us. And listen, we're going to have some bad memories as well, but don't let the bad outweigh the good.
Teach, Chaz. That's good teaching.
Please don't let the bad outweigh the good. Because when we have something as minor as a conflict, we let that throw everything. Since we have one conflict, that brother's sorry, that brother's garbage, this brother ain't hitting on money. No, we all have conflict. Wipe it away from you. Sweep it under the rug and think about the good times that you've had. But yes, the memories are so important, and we must cherish them.
And I want to add on to that, because memories are basically a mental journey in time. That's all it is. We're going on a journey in our minds. And I know you may not have ever heard it that way, but that's all a memory is. but we want to have good memories. We want to have pleasant memories. We want to have what is called inner exuberance. We want to have cheerfulness, and we want to have exaltation. And we also want to have what is called euphoria. Now, people don't talk like this. See, Chaz, because a lot of people haven't been taught that when a person leaves this earth, we should have a different perspective as opposed to always being doom and gloom and sad, dejected, depressed, ready to kill ourselves, ready to jump off of a mountain. We don't want to be, we want to be isolated. We want to be left alone. Now, we know there are times that we have like that, but we're saying that that shouldn't be all the way. We should take death and we should do something with it. And this is why we have these kinds of broadcasts. A brother says this: we are atoms, and you cannot destroy or create atoms. You can only transform them. So yeah, we will be transformed in some kind of way. But again, back to the memories, Chaz. Memories is what really helps me when it comes to thinking about my loved ones, especially, you know, like I'll keep talking about my mother. Those memories, man, sometimes I'll sit up and I'll just burst out laughing. And somebody might say, hey, what are you laughing about? And I say, oh, it's nothing. But I remember a time where I said something silly, or she straightened me out, or a concept came that she taught that's coming into practice. You know, I'm not always sitting around crying, slinging snot, ready to kill everybody that says anything to me. You know, we got to stop this nonsense, Chaz.
We really do. We really do. Sister Rutledge commented again. It says, energy doesn't lie. I feel my granny's love right now, 20 years later after her expiration.
Whoa, after 20 years. That's powerful. And again, you know, this broadcast can be seen every Wednesday at 6 o'clock Central Standard Time. We want you to like this broadcast. We want you to share this broadcast. We're going to come back and do a part 3 on a proper attitude about physical death. We were supposed to just do 2, but we have so much more to talk about. And I think it would be a disservice on Chaz and my behalf to say, let's cut it off now, or let's rush through it just so we can get this done. So we'll talk about something next week. So come back next week and let's conclude this thing. And if we can't conclude it next week, we'll stretch it out again. And this is another thing I like about this broadcast, Chaz. When we talk about these ideas, you know, many people, especially Blacks, African Americans, whatever you're calling yourselves, you know, we don't like to talk about these subjects, Chaz, but these subjects are important to us. And we have gotten an appetite for dumb foolishness. So we rather listen to foolishness and watch things on TV that means nothing to us, but we can't comment. We can't apply these principles to our lives. And that's why a lot of us are struggling big time, big time.
Sister Rutledge comment again. She says, slang is snot, LOL. It says, I got to use that, brother. And real quick, too, this is no major announcement, but I really do appreciate, because, brother, we've already know our attention spans as a society has dwindled down.
Whoa.
So for the people who have stuck around this long to the broadcast, even if we are going over for 5 or 10 minutes, I thank you for still sitting here through it, because there's some people that say, if they ain't done by 7, I'm shutting it off. No, our attention span needs to grow. This is for all of us. So once again, all the people who are still here that are still commenting and watching, I say thank you once again.
And this shows how we've been so poisoned in the mind. Many men, when a game goes into overtime, we love it. We want to go double and triple overtime. But when we go past our hours time, people cut it off. Now, when people have something to do that's pressing, we're not talking about you. But there are many people, in fact, they should want this broadcast to go for 2 or 3 hours, because these are nothing but encouragements, Chad. This is helping the ignorant and the unlearned. These principles are helping us, the ignorant, the unlearned. It's helping us cope, because a lot of us don't know how to cope with death. We don't know what to say. We don't know what to do. We don't know how to act. And yet we run to these churches, and we run to these mosques. We run to these spiritual houses, and they're not preparing us, because we're just as dumb as we were before we start going when it comes to death. We're still thinking of death in ways of just frightening, you know, as opposed to what we're saying, which is take it a day at a time and live to the fullest. Enjoy life, and those who have gone on before you, appreciate what they've left you. They left you a legacy. Where did they leave it? They left it in your mind. They left it in your heart. They left it in your soul. That's what we need to really talk about. So I'm going to go ahead, Chaz, and there's another comment. So you guys that are commenting, I want you guys to stop it. A beautiful queen says, thank you both for all your preparation. And
thank you, sister.
Thank you. Queen.
Thank you, Sister Rutledge.
Chazz, I'm telling you now, man, this is very important. So I mean, you guys that are commenting, we hate to say that, but we're saying stop it only because we got to get out of here.
Right, we ain't used to it. We're used to it. When we didn't get comments, we kept going. Now we're getting them. In fact, brother, we may have to look at investing in a moderator for someone to do these comments.
Yeah, this is true. They're just coming our way. Someone says, good broadcast, Grandpa and Sire. She says Shem Hotep. Man, that Shem Hotep, for those who don't know, that basically is a word that is a Medu-Neter word. It's the ancient Egyptians or the ancient Kemites. That's a word they use, which basically means when they said goodbye, they wanted to leave you with a certain kind of peace. Right. So she's saying Shem Hotep. The Hotep is the peace part, but the Shem Hotep or Shem Hotep, she's basically saying, I want you guys to leave with the highest peace that's possible. And this is why this is so important, brothers and sisters. And this is why we need to have this. Another queen says, Mushanda Royal, truly. Yeah, this is so awesome, Chazz. And we hate to go. We hate to go, but we have to go, y'all. She says, dismissed, great kings. So I guess she's given us the opportunity, or she's given us the authority to leave. She's saying, you're dismissed, great kings. So we're going to leave, and we're going to leave this place. And we normally play our little music and let Chazz say his comments, and then I say my final comments. But we're going to go ahead and we're going to leave. But I'm going to let Chazz say some final words, and then I'll say some final words, and then we'll be out of here. Let me get this sister's comments off the screen. So whoever comments now, you guys, or somebody just stuck one in. This is it, bro.
Brother Ray has said what he said. We out.
Hotep, bro. We out. Yeah. So I mean, these are beautiful people that love the broadcast. But I wanted you, Chazz, to just talk a little bit while this music is playing. Then I'll say the final words, and we'll get out of here.
Okay. In a nutshell, first again, I appreciate everybody who came back to watch this broadcast. But death is a serious topic. We're all going to leave this earth. And let's not look at death as always something negative. Look at it as something positive. Have good memories of that loved one. Appreciate the times that you spent. Do not let life get you to a point to where you thinking that you want to commit suicide. No. Live your life out no matter the circumstances. I know it gets hard, but this is a gift that we all have, that we're on this earth at this time. Live it as best as we can and do the best that we can. And once again, all the memories that we've accumulated, ponder those things, cherish them, because one day we're not going to have that person physically with us anymore. So with that being said, I love you all. I appreciate everybody. Brother, I appreciate doing this broadcast with you. And that's all I have to say. I'll let you take it off from here.
Okay. And I also say, I echo the same sentiments that Chazz says. Pontificate means, think deeply about life. Think deeply about love. Love the people that have gone on before you. Have precious, and I mean this with all my heart, have precious memories of what they left you. They want you to do positive things. They don't want you moping and not being productive. They don't want me always being angry and depressed and dejected and sad. They want us to live life to the fullest so that we too, in one day, can leave those memories to those who are behind us. If you haven't got your business straight, that means if you can afford a policy, look into it for your children. Look into it for yourself. At least try to leave something for them so that when we leave this place, they will have information as to what to do or what you wanted to have done. Don't leave them fighting. Don't leave us bickering. Don't leave us squandering and squabbling over and all of the things that we didn't say. Get your business straight. And to those who haven't watched this broadcast or just tuned in, go back and watch it from the beginning. Stop being so silly when it comes to the truth. This is nothing but the truth because we love you. And we speak this way because we want you all to know that two brothers, and there are other brothers and sisters who love you, but we definitely love you. And we want you to know that this proper attitude about death is going to be carried on to next week, next Wednesday at 6 o'clock Central Standard Time. Tune in and watch us. And if you don't, you're going to miss a treat. And so having said that, on behalf of Chazz, my name is Big Brother Jahi. We shall see you all on next week. And we say to all of you, Shem Hotep, and we want you to know that we definitely appreciate all that you have done tonight and in your lives. So again, we're out of here. So we love you. and we shall see you on next week.
Take care, everybody.